Okay.
All right, I am now recording.
In 3, 2, 1. I'm Reed Yadon, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was in my 50s when I was diagnosed, as most people, unexpectedly. And needless to say, when the diagnosis came, it came like a ton of bricks in a storm in the night. My treatment location was Cancun, which is not a bad place to be in the month of March, early March, when it's cold in this part of the world. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I'm coming up on 3 years as this is being recorded. And it was in December of 2012, actually, that I was diagnosed. And it came about by accident, if you will. My regular physician did the DRE and also did a prostate prostate test with the blood work. And when I got my results, she said, your blood work looks fine, and your PSA is still very much in the acceptable range. And when I examine you, I don't feel anything. But she said, your PSA has gone up 1.5 points in the last 1.5 years. And she said, I'm just paranoid enough. I want you to go be checked by a urologist. And I took her advice, made an appointment with Dr. John Jurich here in Louisville, and he checked me out. I went and he did the DRE. He checked me and he's, and we did an ultrasound. And he said, the ultrasound looks very good. I said, I don't think you have any problems, but if you really want to know, we can do a biopsy. I said, well, let's do a biopsy and either rule it in or rule it out totally. So I went back as it goes. They had the next day an opening for a biopsy. I went, did the biopsy. He said, I feel good. He said, I don't think you're going to be hearing anything from me. But he called up about 3 days later and he said, well, the biopsy's back and the results weren't quite what we had hoped for, but you have options. Well, that's when you feel like your world ends. And I went in to see him like the next day, and he told me what the biopsy had said, and it was basically, you can't see it, you can't feel it. It was microscopic in nature. So he said, that's the good news. You're very early and you've got every option you want. And he went down the options, and one of them was HIFU, which my physician, my family physician, had said that's one of the reasons I'm going to send you to Dr. Jurich, because you'll have that option. And we talked about HIFU, and that was where my interest began to center. But like so many of you, when you hear about HIFU, you say, this is too good to be true. It can't be true. So I sat about, while I thought my world was ending, and did all kinds of research on the internet. And everything I found was just too good to be true. I talked to Dr. Jurich numerous times, and he said it is all true. It's the way it works if you're a good candidate. And he said, you're an excellent candidate. So made the decision to have HIFU. It became a pretty easy decision for me. My recovery was exactly as Dr. Jurich indicated. He was very open with the whole thing. Had HIFU at noon. At 4:30, I was walking 1.5 miles with my significant other. She and I took a 1.5 mile walk, and that's pretty common. He wanted me to walk. He said, go out and walk. We walked, went walking, and had a great meal that night, and then came back to Louisville the following day out of Cancun. And my recovery was very swift. I was walking 1.5 miles, whatever I felt like, immediately, and then my recovery was complete. I was running again within 2 weeks. No problems. And my life today is very, very good. Just a normal life. Whether it be incontinence, no problem. Sex life, normal. PSA score running about 0.10 or 0.08. It'll bounce around a little bit. Quality of life is excellent. And all I can say is if you are unfortunate enough to be diagnosed with prostate cancer, you are fortunate enough if you have the option for HIFU. What you read about it, what you can hear from people like me and other people, we're not paid endorsers. We're doing this because we know what it's like. We've been there. We've got the T-shirt, so to speak. So consider it. Ask your questions. Do your research. And if you choose HIFU, I don't think you'll regret it.